Too, this can be really informal. Have a seat right here. You can sit on the floor, whatever you need. Okay. This entire day will be informal. So, question, throw it up. Anybody has a question, want to spend a little bit more time on anything, throw your hand up and we'll stop. This is not formal at all. Okay. You want to sit down, man?
No.
You sure? Okay. All right. So, my name is Coach Nelly. Everybody calls me Nelly around here. My real name is Josh Nelson, thus Nelly. Okay, so I've been here for about 5 years. I work in athletic performance and I run our sports science division over at the other building. The weight room you're in now, we're really blessed because this is our secondary, our auxiliary weight room, and our main weight room is about 2 to 3 times the size of this. We also have a dining hall right beside our main weight room and an indoor football facility that we train in every single morning. This weight room is where we train when we're in season. What's up, guys? Come on in. We train in this weight room in season and in most of our pitcher lifts after they come straight from the field. And the really cool thing about it for us is its proximity to the field. So we can kind of start up right away. At other places we go to and we travel and we're training, sometimes we've got to go all the way across the other university's campus to even get to where we're training. For us, we're really lucky because we can come right off the field in here and lift if we need to. A little bit about us as a performance crew is we have 3 different areas that we call our performance family. 1 is strength conditioning, which we call athletic performance. 2 is sports nutrition, and we have 3 registered dietitians on staff that work for educating and everything with all of our food for our athletes. Hey guys, come on in. Absolutely. And our 3rd area is sports science, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little bit, but basically what that is monitoring and managing everything that we do. Imagine like a checks and balances system. That's kind of what sports science is for us. We're going to spend a little bit of time in all 3 of those areas. We're going to start with athletic performance or strength conditioning first, and we're going to use a lot of different examples. So sometimes I go down a rabbit hole and get a little creative. So if you put your creative thinking caps on for me, it's really going to help. I want you guys to imagine, okay, that wall right over there is August. All right? And that wall right there is the beginning of a season. So for us, August is when we report into the off-season phase, right into school. And for us, hey guys, y'all looking for the weight room? Right on in here. And for us, our end season is going to start at the beginning of, or toward the middle of January. So we'll report back January 14th this year and we kind of get started. So I want you to think about your off season from that wall until that wall is our entire time we get to spend training. So for us, when we train, we typically train in the off season 4 days a week. We go at 5:30 in the morning. We spend about 45 minutes out on the field in a dynamic warm-up and sprinting and throwing med balls and conditioning. And then we spend about 45 minutes in the weight room, lifting, doing shoulder care, everything like that. Okay, so throughout that time in the off season, from that wall, August, to this wall, January, we go through different periods of time and different emphasis in our training. We don't just go in and lift heavy weights every single day. We don't just go in and run every single day. There's a specific emphasis every week or month block, we'll call it, and then we're going to spend a lot of time in that area. The first one I want to talk about, and I want to talk about it as making a pyramid. Okay, so a pyramid. Everybody can envision this pyramid, right? So it's really skinny at the top, and it's really, really wide at the bottom. The very bottom of our pyramid, I want you to imagine August and September. Right when we get into school, we're going to go through a phase called work capacity. You can also think about this as being called fitness. That is the very foundation in which all athletic development, it does not matter what sport you play, work capacity and fitness is what all athletic development rests on. The bottom of that pyramid, answer me this. In a pyramid, is the top or bottom biggest? The bottom, absolutely. What if it's really skinny? What do you mean it's not going to work? It won't be able to support it, okay? even if it is able to support it, it's going to be very narrow, right? I want my fitness base and I want my entire work capacity base to be super, super wide. Okay, I want it to be super wide. So in August and September, what we do when we're training for work capacity is we do a lot of generic types of movements. We run. We do a very long dynamic warm-up. We look at, through working with our sports medicine staff, and we work to identify weaknesses that we may have, and we work to correct those. If anybody's coming back from an injury, he has a specific plan that's going to put him in a good situation so we can find more advanced levels of training. Okay? Also in this work capacity block, we're talking August and September, remember. There's a lot of circuits. We go out on the field and we carry heavy things. We run. We do a lot of med ball work. A lot of our teaching is also taking place during this point in time. Okay? A lot of our stuff is done off of cadence. And we do things off of cadence so we can train an entire group at one time. Okay? So work capacity. Work capacity, it exists with a lot of volume. Everybody understand when I say volume what that means? A lot of reps. It's just a lot of work. Okay? If I put work in early, later on, I can have a lot more directional type things that's going to make me a better baseball player. Okay? What was the first block called? My foundation. Say it loud. You got it right. Say it loud. Work capacity. Everybody say it after me. Work capacity.
Work capacity.
Absolutely. All right, so now we got an awesome foundation. That thing is wide, it is thick, and it is built to hold more advanced levels of training. What would the next period be? So, September, October. What could that be? Anybody think? I've got a great fitness level. I can handle the demands of training. That thing is great. What would the next floor of my pyramid be? What do you think about when you're in a weight room? Strength. Say that loud. Strength. Okay, so after fitness, the next most important thing that we will develop, we will spend about a month training for strength. Strength is essentially moving weight regardless of the speed. Okay, so I just want to have really strong athletes during this period of time. I don't really care how fast they're moving the weight. When we're training strength, okay, I just want them to be very strong. There's a couple different types of strength. There's repetition strength, having the ability to move weight over and over and over. Not just a little weight, a lot of weight over and over and over. Sets of 5, sets of 6, around 85%, somewhere through there. Okay? There's also limit strength, having the ability to move a ton of weight at one time. Now think about it. If I was to try to pick up a house, how slow would that movement be? Pretty slow, right? But you can see when I focus everything on one rep, you can almost envision that strength. Think about cartoon characters that are just real big guys. Those guys are strong. They exhibit great strength. But unfortunately, sometimes strong guys that have a ton of strength, are not always able to produce force fast. Okay? We're going to get into that in a second. So our first block, what was it called? Work capacity. It's big. It's foundational block. It goes at the beginning from August to the beginning of September. What's the next period? Strength. Strength is moving a ton of weight, being able to be strong, move a ton of weight, but not really worried about speed. Okay? So this big old cartoon character, right? So you can pick up a house, but not really fast. What do we need to train in order to make him be able to move it faster? Not yet. Okay, what is another word for explosive? Power. Okay, so I got work capacity, fitness, strength. Now I'm adding power. Power. Power is being strong, fast. Being strong, fast. Super important skill for us as pitchers, as infielders, as outfielders, and as hitters. I have to have the ability to produce force fast right now. Okay, so power, we can train in a couple different ways. One is strength speed. Okay, strength speed is basically moving heavy weight fast. So if I was to take that house and throw it through the sky, that would be strength speed. Moving heavy weight fast. When we're in the weight room, when we train strength speed, we use a lot of Olympic movements. Things like that are working with a barbell, moving fast. We don't necessarily clean and catch weight in this position, but we will work on from the blocks getting tall, from the blocks getting tall. We work a lot of different things like that. We do some jumps as well where we'll put weights on our back and we do a quarter jump and we'll squat and come back down into that position. So basically we're moving a load really, really fast. That's strength speed. The other side of power is called speed strength. Speed strength is like throwing med balls, throwing a light weight really, really rapidly. We need both of these. We need both of these for baseball. Okay? All right, so now the very bottom of the pyramid was work capacity, then we go to strength, then we go to power. What would be the next one? So we just said it a minute ago. Speed. Speed is the most precious quality, minus sports skill, that an athlete can develop. It is probably the hardest to develop and maintain of any of the qualities that we're going to talk about today, even sports skill, because of the neural component and the coordination that is involved in keeping speed. I think speed, it's the hardest thing in sports to understand. And because it's hard to understand, it's hard to train. Oftentimes, because of that, it's trained improperly. When I think about training speed, when we think about training speed, what are some things that come to mind? Mechanics, okay, one. Resistance, okay, that's two. Something else? What about that thing when we put it out on the floor and we go through with our feet? Ladders. Does anybody use those for speed? Okay. Most of these things, however, are used improperly. Okay. So speed ladders. What if I was to tell you the speed ladder does not train speed? It forces me to look down, my hips fall, and when I actually touch the ground in a speed ladder, I'm not training my feet to actually absorb force. I'm tiptoeing. When an athlete sprints, his ankle is locked like this and he puts force into the ground right here. So when I'm training with a ladder, it's actually slowing me down and teaching me to run incorrectly. Okay? So when we train speed, a couple things that we talk about is keeping the resistance, somebody said that a minute ago, 10% of your body weight or less. If it is higher than 10%, it's slowing you down to the point where you are not training speed. You are essentially training yourself to run at 80% or lower. Okay, so when we train speed, one, the resistance, it could be band, it could be a sled, it could be going up a hill, but it needs to provide resistance of less than 10% of your weight. So if I weighed 200 pounds, which I do usually, right, Nick Lofton? Right? 20 pounds of resistance would be the maximum. So 10%. If I weigh 100 pounds, it's 10 pounds. Okay, so think that. The next thing when we're training speed is recovery time. What is an ideal time in between reps on speed, would you think? Like if let's say we're going to do some 10-yard acceleration sprints here. How much time would I take in between reps to be able to train speed? It'll blow your mind.
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Longer. 2 minutes? Close. Somewhere in between, about a minute. So a general rule of thumb, for every 10 yards that we travel, maximum speed. I'm not talking condition. I'm not talking about anything other than max effort speed. For every 10 yards that we travel, we're going to rest a minute. Now, it's really hard as a coach because I'm a hustle coach. Like, I do not like walking around. When guys come in the morning, super early, I do not like people yawning. I do not like people walking around just like whatever. But when we're training max effort speed, we have to be able to walk. When we sprint, when we program sprint for our guys here, and now we sprint almost every single day when we're training, we will walk back every single time. There'll be a minute per every 10 yards. And we're only going to probably do 3 to 5 sprints a day. Okay, so not a ton of volume. Because if I get tired when I'm training speed, I'm actually training something that's not speed. I'm just training sub-maximal effort. Okay? So, going back to a little review, the very bottom of the pyramid was what? Word capacity or fitness. The next one. Strength, absolutely. The next one. Power. Then what's the very top? Sports skill, absolutely. Okay, so you have speed and sports skill. Those are the two most valuable things that we can create. Okay, now, in the weight room, we are not touching sports skill. We are not touching sports skill. Now, for us, some of our older guys, we do need to get a little bit creative to the point where we add some things similar to their position. Like we got a pitcher like T-Tom and these guys that are in here. Some of our pitchers will do a couple things that emulate what they do out there, but for the most part, most of our training does not even look like baseball. That's contrary to what you see in Instagram and social media these days, where every single exercise in the world looks just like something that's happening on the field. The problem with that, however, is if I spend so much time focusing on working on sports skills and emulating these sports skills, I'm neglecting the bottom part of my pyramid. In fact, let me tell you this, in the United States, most of the time our pyramid, okay, we were talking about the importance of the bottom of a pyramid, and most of the time in the US, in the United States, our pyramid is upside down. Sports skill is spin. It is massive. But there's very few situations where we're spending concentrated efforts making speed happen, power happen, strength happen, and fitness. Now, why would it be a problem? I think that's wonderful. I'm going to become a better second baseman. I'm going to be a better center fielder or a pitcher. Why would it be important for me not to spend all my time in sports skill? Why is it dangerous for that pyramid to be flipped over that we've been talking about? Any ideas? Okay. If you don't have fitness, maybe you become tired and you have sloppy mechanics, and you may learn something. I like that. What else? If I have sloppy mechanics and I'm tired and I continue doing things, what could happen? Injury. The more time I'm around a high-level sport. Now, baseball's tough. The directions that are happening out in the field is very tough. You start, stop, jump, throw, swing. Max effort, too. Let's not forget that. If I spend all my time in there without training for other things, that the possibility of injury goes up dramatically. Okay, so it's super important to have an off-season, to have time spent associated with training in some way or another. Okay? Does anybody have questions with training in regard to our pyramid that we talked about? Our training here at Baylor, now again, there's a ton of different ways to train. Ours is not fancy at all. It is super simple. Every single day we come in, we have a warm-up. It takes about 14 minutes. We stretch, it takes 3 minutes. We do some sort of jump or sprint. We do a med ball toss. We may run on some power days, or conditioning days we'll definitely run. And then we go into the weight room. And on that pyramid, our exercises, if you look at our template card, they go from fast to slow, and from complex to simple. So every single day they're going to be doing something violent, training power. Every single day they're going to be doing something training strength. We're going to push, we're going to pull, we're going to squat, we're going to hinge our hips. And then basically at the very end, we look at what we've done and we make sure that we have appropriate balances. I think going back to, in regard to breaking down the body, we're going to make sure that we pull every single day. Most of our days, we're going to do something for the back. It may be in a vertical plane, it may be in a horizontal plane, but we're always going to train our back. And then at the end of that, after we've done all of our meat and potatoes work, then we may get a little bit specific, position-wise, working maybe some vision training, things like that. But nothing that we do is overcomplicated. Questions with that? No? Quiet bunch in here. All right, so that is athletic performance. That is strength and conditioning, and how we think of getting better and improving there. Okay, the next area is performance nutrition. Now, we are super, super blessed. We have 3 registered dietitians that work with our athletes. And what they always do is spend time in education with our athletes. They talk day to day about what we need to take in, and we talk about food as fuel. Okay, just like a top fuel race car. the fuel that you put in that thing is going to dictate how well and how efficient it runs. So the same thing is happening to us. Okay, the same thing is happening to us. Our dietitians always talk about nutrition and education with one word, and it's called BEAST. Okay? B-E-A-S-T. B stands for breakfast. How many in here eat breakfast every single day? Okay? You guys better raise your hand. Okay? So, I'll talk about breakfast a little bit. The word breakfast, if you break this thing down, it essentially means breaking a fast. If I say fasting, what does that mean? What's that? Not eating or refraining from something. Okay? It could be a drink, it could be food, it could be an activity, whatever it may be. I'm stopping something. All right? So in order to break my fast for breakfast, I need to get something in my system within 30 minutes of bedtime. Consider this. Let's say I eat dinner at 6 p.m. Then I go to bed, do whatever. Then I wake up and I go to school and I skip breakfast. And I don't eat lunch until 12. How many hours has then it been since I've had food? 18 hours is the correct answer. Okay? That is a long, long time for developmental athletes and for everybody to go without eating food. Remember, food is fuel, and if I don't have fuel, my engine is not going to run. So we have to get something, and something is always better than nothing. If I like breakfast foods, eat eggs and toast. Some bacon in there, that's great. Okay, if I don't like breakfast food, I don't like that in my palate, have something. It could be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It could be cereal. It could be food from the night before. Whatever you like, do it. But something is always going to be better than nothing. Something is always going to be better than nothing when we're talking about breakfast. Okay? So breakfast, check. We got it. Next one, eat. Eat often. We want to encourage people to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Remember, food is fuel. Food is fuel. And it's going to supply the engine for the activity that I'm about to do. So we want to keep our metabolism going by putting food in our bodies every 2 to 3 hours. That does not mean that I have to have this elaborate meal. I just need to have something every 2 to 3 hours. So if I have a good breakfast, a good lunch and dinner, and then I just put in some snacks, I can have 6 meals a day throughout there. That keeps you going. Okay? All right, next one. Check off eat. 8. Always hydrate. We're in Texas. Is everybody in here from Texas? Where are we at in here? Is nobody in here from Texas? Wow. Where's everybody from? Where y'all from?
I'm from Texas.
Texas? Texas? Man, well, you guys raise your hand. Who's in here from Texas? Okay. I feel a little bit better. I was wondering. Where's some of our other guys from? Where are you from?
Indiana.
Indiana. Nice. Texas? Who else is not from Texas? Where are you from?
California.
California. Awesome. Colorado. Awesome. California. Awesome. Where are you from? Ohio. That's awesome. We got a cool crew in here. All right, so we are in Texas right now, and sometimes, especially toward the end of our season, it gets really hot. So hydration and resupplying our body with water and electrolytes is super, super important for us. So always hydrate. We supply our athletes with a bottle, a refillable bottle every year, multiple times throughout the year. And we want to make sure that they're carrying that with them so we can kind of rehydrate all through the day. Now, here's your question. What is better, water or Gatorade? Or I should say water or a sports drink?
Water.
Why?
It doesn't have sugar.
It doesn't have sugar, okay. Well, what about G2?
You don't need the electrolytes if you're not after a game.
Okay, he's right on. He's right on. When we're in activity, we want to shift a little bit more toward a sports drink because you need a little bit more electrolytes, so you potassium that is associated with sports drinks. But when we're not in activity, if I'm just chilling at class, at the house, water is going to suffice for that. We want to really push our athletes to drink more water as opposed to sports drinks when we're away. But always find a way to carry something with you that you can refill. Water's free, especially at school. Bring a bottle that you can refill, and it's really going to help you out. Okay? Hey, check it out. S, sleep. A couple different things with sleep. Okay, there's a ton of studies out there, and we do a lot of things with our athletes in sleep in regard to talking about environment, the way your room should look, the temperature of your room, but you can boil everything down to two different things. One, we want to get about 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Okay, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And we completely understand, we got travel schedules, we get home late sometimes, we got early morning wakes. It's tough. But we want to shoot for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Did I just say 12? Okay, good. 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours. The next thing is I want to be as consistent as possible on when I go to bed and when I wake up. See, the body it's a machine. It's a fascinating machine, and it's very intelligent. It does things that we don't even have to think about. But if I am very irregular on things such as sleep, the body is like, I don't know what's happening right now. So I want to try to standardize when I go to bed and when I wake up. And then my body, and more importantly, the hormone release that's occurring throughout my body naturally can take place on a very regular schedule. So two things with sleep. 7 to 9 hours for us, especially as we're growing through high school and college. And 2, be consistent, going to bed and waking up. The last thing is T. Check it, that's all. T. Think lean protein. So when I'm eating, I want to think lean protein. I want to get some form of lean protein or protein, any type of protein, in every single meal that I take, including snacks. Now, how do I know if things are lean? Talk to me about this less leg rule. What is that? Have you been here before? Man, you know it. Teach it. Let's go.
Like cattle, like beef is worse for you than like fish.
Okay. Let's not say worse.
Or it's not as lean.
It's not as lean. Very good. Okay, so the rule or the law of the legs. The fewer the legs of meat or the animal the meat came from has, typically the leaner that meat is. Okay, so let's run a test. Where does beef come from? Cows on most days. How many legs does a cow have? Hopefully. So 4. All right. Chicken has 2. Which one's leaner? The chicken. All right. Good. It works for that one. All right. So how many legs does a turkey have? 2. How many legs does a fish have? 0. Which one's leaner? Usually fish, unless you cook it in a lot of oil. Okay? Tricky one. Let's throw, how about a deer? How many legs does a deer have? 4. Now this one's pretty lean. This one's going to be tough. How many legs does peanut butter have? 0. So which one's leaner? Sometimes that venison would probably be a little bit leaner. Okay? You got to look at the back of the peanut butter. You can get some lean peanut butter, and peanut butter is always pretty good for what it has in it, but you got to kind of be careful with that. Okay, so think about the law of the legs. T, think lean protein. Get protein in your diet. Protein is the building block of how we're going to build our body. T, check it off. What does B stand for? Breakfast. Hey, be louder for me. Give me some volume right here. B. Breakfast. A little bit better. E. Eat often. A. Always hydrate. There's some volume. S. Sleep. And T. Very good. There's our sports nutrition. Basically, everything boils down to that. 1, treat everything that you eat as fuel. You're an engine. You're a truck. An awesome truck. Fill that thing up with good fuel. Okay? And 2, remember the beast. So now we've covered 2 different areas of our performance group. We have athletic performance, which is strength and conditioning, and we have nutrition. Okay? Our third area is our sports science division. I want you to think, I talked about sports science is essentially a checks and balances system. What we do in sports science is 1, research and development. We're always trying to talk to different types of companies out there that we may use their product to benefit you guys. Okay? We're very blessed here. We're super blessed to have the funding to be able to experiment with some of our toys. Okay, so we have systems such as GPS. We can put a GPS on the back of these guys, and we can see how far and how fast they're traveling in a game, and then we can work to model training after what that looks like. So there's no guessing. Okay? We've actually put a unit on Nick here, playing shortstop a couple weeks ago. We've had one on our catcher yesterday in the game. And we look at how many times they turn right, left, how many times they jump, how fast they travel. And then we look back at training and we see if Coach Nelly's program is trying to fit that mold. Is it doing what we're thinking it's doing? There's no guessing anymore at this level. Okay? Another unit that we use in conjunction with nutrition is our DEXA scan. Our DEXA scan, it's a big unit where guys will lay down in, and an arm travels over your body and emits a low-level x-ray. And it will actually look at your body and discriminate between lean mass and fat mass. Lean mass is bone and muscle, and fat mass is obviously fat. Now, it's really important to be able to see this because we can see how you're growing. The transformation between 18 years old to 22 years old is unbelievable. There's so many things happening in your body. You're growing up. Then when you couple that with training on the field, training in the weight room, and great nutrition, it's fascinating to see how your body changes. And we can do that right in the house. Okay? Some other things that we do is we have great relationships with some really amazing companies and corporations around the world. One of them is NASA down in Houston. Is anybody down from Houston area? A couple of you guys? Okay, so NASA, the space agency, they came up here about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were kind of hanging out with us. We've had astronauts in to talk to our guys. We steal some of their technology, and what they use with astronauts is they put them up in the space station, here soon going to Mars. We steal some of their technology, blue light technology, that helps some of their pilots stay awake late night. Now, talking about getting sleep, why in the world would we want to wake up? Well, last year in the Big 12 tournament, we won the Big 12, and we played 2 9 a.m. games. That means we got to wake up super early for those games. So that technology that the pilots use to wake up and stay awake, we just put them out at our breakfast tables, and our guys were wide awake come first pitch. So things like this, that's what sports science is. It's a mindset. What can we find out in elite performance that can help our baseball guys? We do that every single day. So performance for us here at Baylor, it's very different. It's not just training. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you, it's amazing. You go to any weight room in the United States at this level, you're going to see racks, you're going to see bars, you're going to see dumbbells. They're going to have a little different logo on it. The color scheme is going to be different. They're all going to have this type of rubbery floor. It's all the same. What separates people are the choices that athletes make. You see, we get 4 hours a day to train with our athletes. It can be on the field, training, whatever, but any countable hours that we have, we get 4 a day. That's it. Last time I checked, there's 24 hours in a day. That means we as athletes have 20 hours to make decisions. Those decisions you make outside of training are more important than anything that you can do in here, anything that you can do out there. So that's what separates people. That's what separates programs, is the decisions that we make in here. Okay, so as we work with performance, understand everybody's working hard. Everybody's working hard. The onus falls back on us. We got to make the right decisions and choose what's right as we go. Understood? Does anybody have any questions regarding anything we talked about? It could be performance. It could be something that we didn't even talk about today. Does anybody, parents, anybody have any questions? Sir?
I actually want to hear from the players how all of this has helped them.
Absolutely.
Well, coming from high school to college, being able to experience something like this with the facilities we have, like you said, we train in a big facility, one at Hires, but we were blessed to have this as well. And having guys like Nelly come and teach us the proper ways of training and how sleep, training, and like the factors can benefit not only you as a person, but you as a baseball player or an athlete. It really has affected the way we perform on and off the field. So.
I'll throw into that. So I got here my freshman year. I'm a sophomore now. 6'1", 175 pounds. I'm now 6'1", 195. nutritionist Jeremy. Every day he's pounding in our heads the right things we need to be doing, and just always coming up with different ways to get it in our heads and make us want to learn. And with Nelly, I know he brings so much passion to just the technology and the learning and everything that he does here. Like even just this talk right here, I know he cares so much about how it's coming off to you guys and the efforts he's putting into that. It's just incredible to watch, really, and it just makes us want to work even harder for them because we know they care so much about us and how we perform.
Anybody have anything else? Any questions? Or anything we want to talk about more? Last thing I'll say. All right, so end of semester's coming up. So the end of the semester's coming up. Now, baseball aside, like that's all we want. That's what we all want to do. Okay. At the end of the semester's coming up, we're gonna start studying for exams. Everybody probably's got some end of the semester exams coming up. You got to have a plan for that. A couple things that you can do right now as you like getting ready to study. Get your notes together. If you got some binders and notebooks and stuff, get them things together now. Don't wait until it's time to study. The next thing is talk to your teacher. Like just go and have a nice conversation. It can just be a, hello, how was your day? Let them know who you are. Okay, make sure that they have a face with that name before you go take that exam. All good? Have a plan in everything you do. You're going to be much better in everything that you choose to do. Good? Thank you guys so much for coming today. Y'all stay warm out there. Thanks. I think you guys are going back outside.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
need
go
the
stretch out.
POs over here. Pictures on them.
Everybody else, we're gonna go stretch out on the soccer field.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you guys. See y'all. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you guys for coming. Yeah. Great to meet you guys. Thanks for coming.